Alright, nice and slow. Here's the newest tapping. And nice and fast. Alright, so rhythm, just line it up with your beat, with your click track, or your metronome, whatever you want to call it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. So it should sound something like that. Alright, so we started to learn how to count the rhythms in standard notation. Let's see if I can grab this magazine here. Okay. What are we doing? Ride the Lightning. No, I certainly did not have this prepared to go. Page 20. Okay. So just going over, that's what we talked about. You've got, let's see. Hopefully this shows up okay. We're going to ignore that first bar for right now to simplify things. So, up above here, you have rhythm slashes, which represents what the bass is doing just for this part. It seems to only last for just this top line, and then it goes away. So, we'll start with that. We'll start with the top thing. So right here, you have a quarter note rest, quarter note rest, quarter note. So remember, the quarter note gets a beat of 1. And also, we're working with a 4/4 time signature, so that means it takes 4 quarter notes to equal the length of a bar. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes right here, but the first and third beat you're not playing anything on, so you're playing on the 2 and 4. And that continues on with the bass here, so you're playing on beats 2 and 4 on that bar. Quarter note rest, quarter note rest, quarter note. And then on this last part, you have a quarter note rest, quarter note, and then this is the half note rest. Now remember, it's a half note because it looks like a top hat. And then for the guitar stuff, again, forget this first part. We're starting right here. You have a quarter note, eighth note rest, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note rest, eighth note. So the quarter note, you got a beat of 1, and then this eighth note rest starts on beat number 2, and then we come in again with the new note on the upbeat of 2. Next note lands on beat 3, which goes across the entire beat. Eighth note rest on beat 4, and then you got the you come in on the upbeat of 4, so you have your 1 and 3 and that's 1 and 3 and then it continues on throughout most of this. You get your 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3, 4. So this should change a little bit because it goes into just quarter note here. You get quarter note, eighth note rest, eighth note, quarter note, quarter note. So when you get here, and remember with the quarter notes, they just have a flag, I mean not a flag, they have a stem coming off of it. Eighth notes have one flag coming off of it. This is what the eighth notes look like when they're connected. So you got, it's still one flag, but it's connecting all the way across. So you have a count of just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. These little notes here, the ones like in the smaller font, those are grace notes. So anytime you see a grace note, you treat the grace note and the note it's attached to as if it's on the exact same part of the beat. So you're still going to do your 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. Then you got 2 quarter notes, 4 eighth notes. So you get your 1, 2, 3, and 4 and for that part. And then here it changes to a 3/4 time signature. So now you only have to count up to 3 to finish this bar. So you have an eighth note followed by an eighth note rest, quarter note rest, and then 2 eighth notes. So you have 1, 3, and that's how that bar goes. So just do the best you can filling out the rhythm stuff here. The vocal melody is going to be the more challenging one here. So the vocal melody, you have the eighth note rest, and then you have the eighth note. So that starts on beat, or the upbeat of beat 1. And then you have this little gallop right here. You get your 2 and because you got the 2 16th notes here. You know it's the 16th note because it has 2 flags. And then this note here is tied to that note. You know it's a tie because this note is the same as that. So that's what that curve means. It's not a hammer-on or pull-off anymore. It's a tie. And what that means is it allows this note to be tied to that note, saying that this note lasts an additional length. So hopefully that makes some sense. We didn't have time to really get into this too much. The other confusing thing right here is you have a dotted 8th note over to a 16th note. What a dot does, it adds half the value to whatever is dotted. What that means, so half of an 8th note is a 16th note. So this is saying this note lasts the length of an 8th note plus a 16th note. So that being said, if you have a dotted whole note, you're adding half the value of that. Half the value of a whole note is a half note. So a dotted whole note would last a whole note plus a half note. So basically a whole note gets 4 beats, gets a count of 4. Your half note gets a count of 2. So a dotted half or a dotted whole note would get 6 whole beats. And then if you had a dotted half note, half of a half note is a quarter note. So a dotted half note would get 3 beats. Dotted quarter note would get a beat and a half. So basically a quarter note plus an eighth note, because the eighth note is half of a quarter note. So we'll go through this stuff more and more, and it's going to start making more and more sense, especially when I'm writing out things and you're writing out things to see like the little rhythm skeleton or rhythm template and then underlining the appropriate stuff. So you're really going to be just kind of looking at things you already know, but with the funky looking symbol this time. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you again in a week.